Dela writes, "My MVVs, welcome." The great lion is rumored to have dragged the jewel's parents into the palace, like summoned them before his cabinet to explain the drama that he has been hearing that has got to do with his wife and the Australian pastor. Now, you know that, any other person would have handled this normally, but I think this issue is an issue that needed to be handled, with so much care and ensure that it doesn't happen again. You know one thing about men who like women, okay? With due respect, to very due respect, they don't like anybody. They don't even want to hear that somebody is going after their wife. They are ready to buy. They don't want to hear that anyone is going close to their own. Nobody wants to hear that. But this one, I feel like it's a deliberate act to, make him small by what the uncle is doing. I don't care about those who are saying the uncle may not have forgotten the tradition of where he comes from and all of that. But I feel like he has done something that is completely wrong, and he should come forward and apologize for it, because this problem that the great lion is having with the jewel right now is a problem that he has brought upon the jewel. It's not something that has to do with the jewel. But the only reason why the great lion is blaming the jewel the way he is doing is because of the jewel's relationship with that man, and also because the jewel made her own mistake by not, trusting and confiding in the husband. And the husband feels like every time I fought because of this, and you knew it all along. There was nothing you could do. Now, with what is happening, to say the great lion was furious would be an understatement. According to palace insiders, the moment he got wind of the matter, he was shaking with disbelief. He couldn't fathom that anyone would have the audacity to discuss pricing or arranging a woman who is still his wife, the mother of his son, a woman still spiritually born to him under the sacred custom of Yoruba kingship. And you sit down there and you think that this is the only woman that you can see or you can be interested in. They say he stood up in the middle of the council and asked everyone in the room, where in Yoruba land have you ever heard of a woman still married to her husband being prized by another man? A palace source revealed, you could see the fire in his eyes. It wasn't just anger. It was pain. It was humiliation. It was a king feeling disrespected at the deepest level. Within hours, emissaries were dispatched to Akure, and it was because of these emissaries that were dispatched to Akure that made the jewel's mother to come to the palace. The jewel's mother and the father, they came to the palace. You know that you hardly even hear anything about the father, but the father is there. He is very quiet. He's still a pastor in a church and all of that. But lately, after the incidents in Ibadan, he decided to stand firm with the daughter. Their relationship right now, that the relationship between the man and the jewel is even better than it used to be, okay? And so, even when they were doing the full moon ritual, the man was present. There was even something that they were supposed to carry, that the jewel's father was the one who carried it on behalf of the jewel. So when they heard of this, after the emissaries left, they came to the palace to answer that summon, okay? And that was it. They said right there in Akure, they said when these emissaries came, people who even saw the convoy and everything, they knew that something was wrong. They knew that something was wrong. And as they stopped by the jewel's family house, okay, they said, it was very tense. Neighbors were wondering what was going on. They saw the white SUV, royal guard in traditional attire and emissaries carrying sealed letters from the throne. When they arrived at the jewel's family home, the jewel's mother reportedly broke down in tears, confused and shaken by the sudden visit, and that was when they called the jewel's father, who eventually came. And they said that they were summoned in the palace within 20 24 hours to meet with the Great Lion. Of course, they all knew what this was all about. You do know that the Great Lion had gone to meet with the jewel in the royal mansion. They talked about it, even though the Great Lion was very, very upset, and he left. And Dr. Sapphire went to the royal mansion and brought the jewel back to the palace to speak to the Great Lion. He spoke to the Great Lion. Even that night, the Great Lion did not want it. The Great Lion was very, very upset, refused to listen to the jewel and all of that. Dr. Sapphire even had to try her own best to ask the jewel some questions, which from the other end, the Great Lion heard, but the Great Lion was so vexed. He was disappointed because to him, the jewel disappointed him. The jewel had all of this and knew what was going on, and the jewel refused to stay. Remember when he started having problems with the jewel's uncle? He said the jewel knew what was going on. He said the jewel knew that the uncle was trying to arrange her for some other person, but the jewel never explained. The jewel never shared anything with her. And, he continued to think that it was because of the happenings that, he brought those women into the palace and all of that. And as a king, he kept trying to apologize to the jewel's uncle, trying to make the man understand, things that he does not understand, the battle that he goes through, being a traditional ruler and all of that. He was expecting the jewel's uncle to understand everything, but every time he, as a king, apologized to the jewel's uncle, the jewel knew that that was not the case. It wasn't just about the things that had happened in the past. It was about the fact that this man wants the jewel to be with some other person, and the jewel did not tell the husband. And that happens to be the reason why the Great Lion was so angry. And so when the jewel's mom came to the palace, she was crying the entire time. The way elders looked at her, it was so belittling. The way they looked at them when they stepped into that council meeting, it was very, very belittling. Like, like thieves, like people who have committed one kind of crime and all of that. And that did not go well with the jewel's mother at all. She just started crying because she knows that, at the end of the day, they would leave everybody and begin to blame her again. She didn't know what to say. She was there in front of the elders, and the jewel's father was also there in front of the elders. They were just, being asked series of questions, and the jewel's mother was crying because this happens to be the one thing that she would never want to be part of, to be in front of these same elders again. She knows what she went through in that same palace with all of these elders. To find herself in that same position again was something that truly broke her heart. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.